He blinked repeatedly, squinting his eyes and then widening them again as if trying to clear something from under the lids. Something on the screen was different. To most people, the stars displayed on the view screen would still have looked the same. But for a man who had navigated them from the seat of a small fighter on numerous occasions, even the slightest change was noticeable. Tug muttered something in his native tongue. Nathan could only guess at its meaning. Oh my God, or holy shit. He was sure it was one of those two. Tug looked back down at the tactical display, locating the icon that marked their new position. It was just as Nathan had said. They were 2 light days away from Haven. Tug stared up at the stars on the viewer once again. "Incredible," was the only Anglo-word that came to him. He turned to Nathan. "Absolutely incredible. It is no wonder that the Ta'akar wished to capture your ship." "Thanks for reminding me," Nathan said. Tug's last statement had knocked Nathan out of the wonder of the moment and back to the matter at hand. "Kayla, any contacts out there?" "No, sir," the ensign responded, from her place at the sensor console to his left. "The area is clear. In fact, by direct imaging, it appears as if we haven't even entered the system yet." "Huh?" It wasn't that Nathan didn't understand what she was talking about. It was that he hadn't expected it. "The light is 2 days old," Cameron added. "It takes some getting used to." "Yeah," Nathan agreed. Tug understood only too well and was already analyzing the prospects in his mind. "Captain, do you realize the tactical advantages such a technology provides? Not only could you jump into range of your targets with complete surprise, but you could escape before help could arrive, and the reconnaissance possibilities." "Let's not get ahead of ourselves," Nathan warned. "We haven't committed to anything just yet. We're just entertaining the possibilities at this point." "But, Captain, this drive is just a prototype. It's experimental. There's a lot it can't do. And so far, we know very little about what it actually can do, so let's just take it one step at a time, shall we?" Tug regained his composure. "Of course, Captain. In the meantime," Nathan continued, "why don't you get your family settled into quarters? It's been a difficult day." Tug looked around the bridge and then back out at the stars on the viewer. "Amazing," he muttered, shaking his head. He nodded to Nathan as he turned to exit. "I'll be available when you need me, Captain." "Thank you." Tug returned to the back of the bridge, exiting out the port doorway with Julia at his side. Nathan watched as they walked away, discussing what Tug had just witnessed for the first time, again in a language that Nathan could not understand. He was beginning to think that if they were to spend much more time in this region of space, he might need to learn at least some of their language. Cameron rose from her seat at the helm and stepped onto the upper level that encompassed the back half of the bridge. "So what do we do now?" "We still need someplace safe to make repairs." "Preferably someplace safer than Haven," Cameron replied, with a hint of sarcasm. "Hey, we got some molo," Nathan quipped. "Yeah, and a bunch of rocks," Cameron added. "That reminds me, what are we going to do with all those workers stranded on board?" The expression on Nathan's face made it evident that he had not considered that problem. "I don't know. I guess I'd better have a talk with them." Nathan turned to Jessica. "Can you round them all up and have them in the briefing room in, say, 30 minutes? "Sure thing," Jessica answered as she turned to exit. "How long do you think we can hang around out here?" Cameron asked. "We're probably okay for a day or so," he admitted. "But to be honest, the sooner we get a few light years between us and Haven, the happier I'll be." Nathan and Jessica entered the main briefing room, located 1 deck below the command section. Large enough to hold 50 people in 5 rows, it seemed almost empty compared to how full it had been during his orientation briefing nearly a month ago. Now it contained only a handful of strangers, aliens in fact, who were stranded on board his ship with no way to return to their homes. Josh and Loki sat at the back of the room, their feet dangling over the chair backs in front of them. The 2 pilots of the now twisted and mangled Harvester, still lying in ruins on the Aurora's flight deck, seemed to be enjoying themselves, despite all they had been through over the last couple of hours. Marcus, the harvesting crew foreman sitting next to them, did not seem as entertained by the situation. The others, 3 men and 2 women, sat apart from the rest. They had all served as indentured workers under contract with the harvesting team that Tobin had hired during their brief stay in the Haven system. It appeared that they had no interest in socializing with the technical crew of their shared employer. They all appeared beaten and disheveled.